Hey, if you're new to my channel, then consider liking and subscribing. It would really mean a lot to me, and honestly, it'd make my day. If you already did, thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, if you like listening to fan fiction, check out my other channel. The link's in the description.
The New Dawn of Monkey D. Luffy by Zero King Ages. Just 2 days before the start of his epic adventure, Monkey D. Luffy finds himself in an unexpected battle against a foreign soul trying to take over his body. With his unwavering spirit, Luffy fights back and manages to repel the entity, but not without consequence. In the process, he gains fragmented memories of a potential future.
"Ready to go, Chopper?" Luffy asked, his signature grin still plastered across his face despite his recent recovery. Chopper wiped his tears and nodded firmly. "Yes, I'm ready to be a pirate doctor." She. That's the spirit," Luffy laughed. As they boarded the Going Merry, Nami began giving orders for departure. "Sanji-kun, Zoro, raise the anchor, Usopp, unfurl the sails." "Yes, Nami Swan," Sanji twirled with hearts in his eyes. "TCH, bossy woman," Zoro muttered but moved to help anyway. Vivi and Robin helped guide Chopper around the ship, showing him where everything was located, including the medical bay that would now be his domain. "This will be your workspace, Dr. San," Robin explained with a gentle smile. "Amazing," Chopper's eyes sparkled as he examined the medical supplies. "But, don't call me doctor, it doesn't make me happy at all, you jerks," he said while doing his happy dance. As the Going Merry began to pull away from the shore, a familiar voice rang out from the castle. "Oh, Chopper," Dr. Koreha's voice echoed across the water. "Don't you dare catch a cold, you idiot son." "Doctorine," Chopper called back, tears streaming down his face again. "Thank you for everything." The crew watched as Drum Island grew smaller in the distance, the pink cherry blossoms still falling like a farewell blessing from Dr. Hylaluk himself. As the Going Merry sailed further from Drum Island, Nami turned to Vivi and Robin with a practical question on her mind. "How long until we reach Alabasta from here?" she asked, already thinking about their navigation route. Vivi looked thoughtful. "I'm not entirely sure. Maybe 3 days?" Actually, Robin interjected, considering the current patterns and wind direction, it should take about 5 days. Okay, Nami nodded, then glanced at Luffy who was sitting on his special seat atop the Mary's figurehead. "Oi, Luffy, since you know what's coming, should we be careful of anything else besides what we already know? Any more surprises waiting for us?" "Oh yeah," Luffy grinned widely, turning to face his crew. "I'll meet my brothers there, she. Sabo and Ace, right?" Nami confirmed, already used to Luffy's revelations. Vivi's jaw dropped. "Brothers? You mean there are more people related to Dragon the Revolutionary and Marine Hero Garp?" Robin's eyes widened slightly. "This is quite unexpected. The implications are rather significant." She. "They're not blood brothers," Luffy clarified with his signature grin. "We shared sake cups to become brothers." "Sake cups?" Chopper tilted his head curiously. Zoro smiled, understanding the significance. "It's an old tradition. Sharing sake makes you sworn brothers, bound by something stronger than blood." "You should have told us that earlier," Nami scolded. "We thought Dragon had 3 children." She. "You never asked," Luffy laughed, picking his nose casually. Chopper looked around at everyone's reactions, confusion evident on his face. "Nay, Sanji, why is everyone so shocked about Luffy's family? Are they famous?" Sanji took a long drag from his cigarette. "Famous is putting it mildly, Chopper. His grandfather is a marine hero who's caught countless powerful pirates. His father leads the revolutionary army that fights the world government, and his sworn brothers are a Whitebeard's 2nd Division commander and the Revolutionary Army's second-in-command." "Oh," Chopper nodded, though he still didn't fully grasp the magnitude of it all. "Wait a moment," Robin's normally composed demeanor showed hints of genuine surprise. "Are you saying one of your brothers is Sabo, the Revolutionary Army's chief of staff? The one they call the Blue Gentleman?" "And Fire Fist Ace?" Vivi added, equally amazed. "The man who turned down a warlord position?" "Yep, that's them." Luffy beamed proudly. "They're super strong." Vivi furrowed her brow, processing this information. "But Luffy-san, Why would they be meeting us in Alabasta specifically? Is it related to Crocodile? Luffy's expression turned slightly more serious, though his smile remained. It's because of Sabo. When we were kids, he was shot in his boat when he was trying to escape. He lost all his memories of me and Ace. The crew fell silent at this revelation. Robin's eyes darkened, knowing all too well the cruelty of the world nobles. So, you want to help him remember? Vivi asked softly. She. Yeah, I don't have Ace's Den Mushi number, but I know he'll be in Alabasta looking for Blackbeard, Luffy explained, swinging his legs from his perch. So I asked Dad to tell Sabo to meet us there, and if seeing us doesn't help him remember. Luffy cracked his knuckles with a mischievous grin. I'll give him one of Grandpa's fists of love. That'll make him remember. She. The entire crew shuddered, remembering Luffy's stories about Garp's training methods. That's your solution? Nami asked incredulously. Hit him with your grandfather's signature move? Yep, works every time, Luffy nodded confidently. Meanwhile, somewhere on the Revolutionary Army's ship heading toward Alabasta, Sabo suddenly felt an inexplicable chill run down his spine. He stopped mid-conversation with Koala, breaking out in a cold sweat. Sabo-kun? Are you okay? Koala asked, concerned by his sudden pause. I don't know why, but I suddenly feel like I'm in danger, Sabo muttered, adjusting his cravat nervously. Like something terrible is waiting for me in Alabasta. Back on the Going Merry, Usopp raised an eyebrow. Oi, Luffy, are you sure hitting your amnesiac brother with a super powerful punch is the best way to restore his memories? Well, if it doesn't work, at least it'll be funny, she. You're the scariest brother ever, the crew shouted in unison. Sanji took another drag from his cigarette, leaning against the railing. So, let me get this straight. All we have to do is beat Crocodile and meet your brothers? That's our whole agenda in Alabasta? Nope. Luffy shook his head. We gotta take Mary to a shipwright after this, she needs fixing. Everyone stared at Luffy in shock, not used to him being so responsible. Luffy. Nami blinked several times. That's surprisingly thoughtful of you. Indeed, Usopp nodded, patting Mary's railing affectionately. I've been doing my best with repairs, but a professional shipwright would be better. Robin stepped forward, her expression serious. Luffy-san, does something happen to the Going Merry in the future? Is that why you're concerned? Luffy's usual grin faltered slightly, his eyes shadowed by his straw hat. Mary is Nakama too. In the future I saw, we didn't take good care of her until it was too late. She sailed until she couldn't anymore, just to save us. The crew fell silent, feeling the weight of Luffy's words. Even those who hadn't experienced it could hear the pain in their captain's voice. She saved us? Chopper asked quietly. Yeah, Luffy nodded, reaching out to touch Mary's figurehead. She came by herself to rescue us. But her keel was already broken by then. We had to say goodbye. Usopp's eyes welled up with tears. No, not Mary. That's why this time will be different, Luffy declared, his determined grin returning. We'll take better care of her, right, Mary? As if in response, a gentle breeze swept across the deck, making the sails flutter softly. She. See? Mary agrees. Then it's decided, Nami said firmly, wiping away a stray tear. After Alabasta, we find the best shipwright we can. Yosh. The crew cheered in agreement, while Robin watched with a small smile, noting how this captain's love extended not just to his human crew, but to their ship as well. Sanji, noticing the somber mood settling over the crew, clapped his hands together. All right, enough gloom, I'll whip up something special to celebrate our new Nakama. Food. Luffy immediately perked up, drool already forming at the corners of his mouth. However, Chopper's attention was caught by something as he processed Luffy's earlier words. Wait a minute. Luffy, you said, the future I saw. Does that mean you actually saw the future? Oh yeah. Luffy grinned. I told everyone before we got to Drum Island. I saw some stuff that's gonna happen. EHHH. Chopper's jaw dropped. Then, did you see if I succeed in creating a cure for all diseases? Luffy tilted his head, thinking hard. Dunno, I only saw like 2 or 3 years ahead. 2 or 3 years? The crew exclaimed in unison. Nami smacked her forehead. How did we never ask how far ahead you actually saw? Now that you mention it, Usopp stroked his chin thoughtfully. We just kept asking about specific events. That's quite a limited time frame, Robin observed. Though it explains why you were able to change things, like recruiting me early and meeting Mr. 2 at Little Garden. She. Yep. Luffy nodded. But it's more fun this way. The future's already different, so now everything's a mystery adventure. You're too carefree about this, everyone shouted. Well, whatever happens, Zoro smirked, we'll just have to get stronger to handle it. Speaking of handling things, Sanji called from the kitchen doorway. Someone better handle Luffy before he raids the pantry while we're talking. Meet. Luffy was indeed already stretching his arm toward the kitchen. Don't you dare. Sanji kicked the rubber arm away, leading to another typical chaotic scene on the Going Merry as the crew tried to restrain their food-obsessed captain. Chopper watched it all with sparkling eyes, thinking that even if he hadn't learned about his dream's outcome, he was exactly where he wanted to be. As the chaos settled down, Vivi couldn't help but giggle at the crew's antics. You know, even knowing about the future, you're still the same Luffy-san. She. Of course. Why would I change? Luffy grinned, now sporting several bumps courtesy of Sanji and Nami. Speaking of changes, Robin interjected thoughtfully. You mentioned Blackbeard earlier. Is he significant in the future you saw? The atmosphere suddenly grew tense as Luffy's expression darkened slightly. Yeah. He's really bad news. That's why I want to warn Ace about him. How bad are we talking about? Zoro asked, his hand unconsciously gripping his swords. Before Luffy could answer, Sanji emerged from the kitchen balancing several plates. Oi, heavy conversations can wait. Food's ready. Food. Luffy's serious expression instantly vanished as he launched himself toward the plates. Wait for everyone else, you rubber idiot, Sanji yelled, somehow managing to keep all the plates safe while kicking Luffy away. As everyone settled down to eat, Chopper looked around at his new crew with wonder. Is it always this lively? This is actually a calm day, Usopp laughed. Just wait until we have a party. Party? Chopper's eyes sparkled. When do we have those? Whenever Luffy decides we should celebrate something. Nami sighed fondly, which is pretty much any excuse he can find. Like now, Luffy declared through a mouthful of food. We got a new nakama and we're gonna see my brothers. That's worth celebrating. You're just trying to get more food, everyone shouted, though they couldn't help but smile. The conversation continued as they ate, the earlier heavy mood completely dispelled by good food and better company. This was the Straw Hat way, after all, facing whatever came their way with smiles on their faces and faith in their captain, even if said captain was currently trying to steal food from everyone's plates. Oh, keep your rubber hands to yourself, but I'm still hungry. You just ate 3 people's worth of food, just another normal day aboard the Going Merry. As the meal continued, Chopper suddenly remembered something else he wanted to ask. Nay, Luffy, if you saw the future, does that mean you already knew I would join? Yep. Luffy beamed. You're an awesome doctor. In the future I saw, you even learned to make your transformations bigger and stronger. Really? Chopper tried to hide his excitement with his usual backwards compliment dance. That doesn't make me happy at all, you jerk. Oh yeah, Usopp chimed in, you mentioned something about that before. What exactly happens with Chopper's abilities? She. He gets super big, like a monster. Luffy stretched his arms up to emphasize, and he can control his transformations better. Chopper's eyes sparkled. That sounds amazing, how'd I do it? Dunno, it was during the 2 years we were apart. 2 years apart? Robin raised an eyebrow. What caused that separation? Luffy's expression became slightly more serious. That's complicated, but it hasn't happened yet, and maybe it won't happen the same way this time. Still, Zoro interjected, setting down his drink, might be worth knowing what kind of training led to these improvements. Could be useful even if things play out differently. That's surprisingly thoughtful coming from you, Marimo, Sanji smirked. What was that, Arrow Cook? Before they could start fighting, Nami bonked them both on the head. Focus, this is important information. Yes, Nami Swan. Sanji immediately complied, while Zoro just grumbled. Well, Luffy put his finger to his chin in thought. I know Chopper trained with some bird people. Bird people? Chopper exclaimed. And Zoro trained with Hawkeye. What? Everyone shouted. The world's greatest swordsman. Usopp's jaw dropped. That actually makes sense, Robin mused. Who better to train someone aiming for that title? Zoro grinned wickedly. Now that's interesting information. And what about the rest of us? Nami asked curiously. Weather Science Island for you. Nami. Usopp got super strong on a weird plant island. Sanji was with some Okama. Stop right there, Sanji interrupted, his face pale. I don't want to know any more about that. She. But you got really strong there. I said I don't want to know. The crew burst into laughter at Sanji's reaction, while Vivi looked thoughtful. It's amazing how much everyone grows. I wonder what kind of adventures led to all of this. That's the fun part, Luffy declared. Even if some things are the same, we'll make new adventures too. Like having Robin with us earlier and meeting Bon Chan at Little Garden. Bon Chan? Chopper tilted his head curiously. Who's that? Mr. Tu Bon Clay, Vivi explained. He's one of Baroque Works' officers, but, she looked at Luffy questioningly. He's our friend, Luffy grinned widely. Bon Chan helped us a lot, he's a good guy. A good guy who works for Crocodile? Usopp asked skeptically. Trust me, Luffy nodded firmly. Bon Chan is Nakama. The crew exchanged glances, but they'd learned to trust their captain's judgments about people, especially with his future knowledge backing it up. Speaking of Baroque Works, Nami interjected, we should probably discuss our strategy for Alabasta. Even with your future knowledge, Luffy, things might be different this time. She. Don't worry. We just need to kick Crocodile's ass, Luffy said confidently. It's not that simple, the crew shouted in unison. Vivi stepped forward, her expression serious. Luffy-san, my people are suffering. We need to stop the rebellion before it starts and expose Crocodile's true nature. Oh yeah. Luffy nodded. Last time we went to. That place with the casino. Rain Base, Robin supplied helpfully. That's where Crocodile's base of operations is located. Right. But this time we have Robin, so it'll be easier, Luffy grinned. Indeed, Robin smiled. I know all of Crocodile's hideouts and plans. Though he might have changed some things since I betrayed him. Nay, Robin, Chopper looked up at her curiously. Why did you work with him in the first place? Robin's expression darkened slightly. That's a complicated story, Dr. San. It's okay, Luffy interrupted cheerfully. Robin's our Nakama now, the past doesn't matter. Robin's eye force softening with a genuine smile. Thank you, Captain San. Still, Zoro crossed his arms, we should be prepared for anything. Even if we know what might happen, we can't get careless. Marimo's right for once, Sanji agreed, lighting a new cigarette. We should make sure we have enough supplies and water for crossing the desert. And we need to figure out how to handle both your brothers showing up, Nami added. That wasn't part of the original timeline, right Luffy? Nope. Just Ace was there last time, Luffy confirmed. But it'll be more fun with both of them, she. Fun isn't the point, Nami shouted, bonking him on the head. She. Don't worry about my brothers, Luffy grinned, adjusting his straw hat. They won't help with Crocodile. This is my adventure, besides, I've got Haki now, so I can kick his sandy butt easily. Haki? Chopper tilted his head curiously. What's that? Oh, Usopp puffed out his chest proudly. It's like a mysterious power. There are 3 types. One lets you sense attacks coming, another lets you hit logia users like Crocodile, and the third can knock people out with just your willpower. Sugoi. Chopper's eyes sparkled with stars. That sounds amazing. Can I learn it too? She. Of course. Luffy laughed. We can start training tomorrow, everyone can learn it. Really? Chopper started doing his happy dance. That doesn't make me happy at all, you jerks. Zoro cleared his throat, bringing everyone's attention back to the matter at hand. For now, we should focus on our plan. Luffy and Robin will handle Crocodile since they know his abilities. The rest of us will deal with the rebellion. Usopp's jaw dropped. Just the 2 of them against a warlord? Don't worry, Luffy punched his palm with a confident grin. I'm way stronger now, and Robin knows all his tricks. Indeed, Robin smiled mysteriously. This time, things will be quite different. Yosh, Luffy jumped up excitedly. Let's kick Crocodile's ass. You're too excited about this, the crew shouted, though they couldn't help but smile at their captain's enthusiasm. In Rainbase, within the luxurious confines of the Rain Dinners casino, Crocodile sat in his hidden underground chamber, smoking his signature cigar. Miss All Sunday's unexpected betrayal had forced him to accelerate his plans. "Sir," a Baroque Works agent knelt before him, "we've received reports that the Straw Hat Pirates are heading this way." And the agent hesitated. "Speak," Crocodile commanded, his hook gleaming in the dim light. "Fire Fist Ace has been spotted in Nanohana. But that's not all. There are also reports of Revolutionary Army activity in the kingdom." Crocodile's eyes narrowed dangerously. "The Revolutionary Army? Here?" "Yes, sir. Their chief of staff, Sabo the Blue Gentleman, was seen heading toward Alabasta." "Interesting." Crocodile exhaled a cloud of smoke. "First Miss All Sunday betrays us. Then two of the most dangerous young people in the world, one is Whitebeard high-ranking, and a high-ranking revolutionary show up." He crushed his cigar in the ashtray. "Something's changed." "Sir," another agent burst into the room. "We've received word from our informants in the Marines." Crocodile turned, irritation clear on his face. "What now?" "Due to Fire Fist Ace's presence, Marine Headquarters has dispatched additional forces to Alabasta. Captain Black Cage, Hina, and Captain White Hunter Smoker are both en route." "TCH," Crocodile clicked his tongue in annoyance. "Those self-righteous Marines. Always sticking their noses where they don't belong." He walked to the window overlooking Rainbase, watching the sandstorm brewing in the distance. "Smoker's already been a thorn in my side, sniffing around Alabasta. And now Hina." He let out a dry laugh. "This kingdom is becoming quite crowded. Should we take measures against the Marines as well?" "No need," Crocodile smirked. "Let them chase their precious pirates. By the time they realize what's happening, Alabasta will already be mine." His expression darkened. "Though having two Marine captains here could complicate things. Especially that damn Smoker and his logia abilities." The agent shifted nervously. "There's one more thing, sir. The Marines. They seem particularly interested in the Straw Hat Boy. Apparently, he's Garp grandson," Crocodile finished, his eyes narrowing. "Yes, I'm well aware. This game just keeps getting more interesting." Crocodile's smirk faded as he paced the room, his mind working through the complications. "We need to accelerate our plans. The game has too many players now." He turned sharply to his agents. "Contact Mr. Fore and Miss Merry Christmas immediately. They're to provoke the rebels before the Revolutionary Army's Blue Gentleman arrives. Tell them to spread the word that they discovered more dance powder in the Royal Palace. Make it seem like they're acting on behalf of the people." "Yes, sir." One agent quickly departed. As for Fire Fist Ace, Crocodile took another drag from his cigar. "Have our agents track his movements. When they locate him, leak his position to the Marines. Let Smoker and Hina chase him around. It'll keep them distracted." He moved to his desk, examining a map of Alabasta, and Mr. 1. "Sir, when the rebellion reaches its peak, eliminate King Cobra. Make it look like he was killed in the chaos." His eyes gleamed dangerously. "And I want immediate reports when the Straw Hats arrive. Track their movements. I want to know exactly which route they take." "Understood, sir. The pieces are in place," Crocodile muttered to himself as his agents hurried to carry out his orders. "Let's see how they handle this game when we change all the rules." "One more thing," he called to his remaining agents. "Have Miss Doublefinger position herself near Alubarna's water supply. If the rebels start losing momentum, she knows what to do with the dance powder." He walked to the window, watching the desert wind swirl outside. The timing must be perfect. When the people see Rawn falling near the capital while their own towns remain dry. His smirk returned. Their rage will be unstoppable. "Sir, what about Miss All Sunday's betrayal? Should we be concerned about what she might reveal?" Crocodile's expression darkened. "That woman knows too much. She's likely with the Straw Hats now. I'll eliminate her along with them." "And if we encounter the Revolutionary Army's forces? Avoid confrontation with the Blue Gentleman. Let the rebels and Marines do our work for us. The more chaos, the better." Crocodile crushed his cigar. "By the time anyone realizes what's truly happening, Alabasta will be burning, and from its ashes, I'll build my kingdom." His laughter echoed through the underground chamber, cold and calculating, as his agents dispersed to set his plans in motion. 5 days passed aboard the Going Merry, filled with intense Haki training sessions in preparation for their arrival in Alabasta. "Land ho," Usopp called from the crow's nest. "I can see Nanohana." Finally, Luffy bounced excitedly. "I can smell Sanji's food from here." "That's because I'm cooking right next to you, idiot," Sanji grumbled, preparing special bento boxes for their desert journey. Nami studied her maps carefully. "Remember everyone, we need to be discreet when we dock. Baroque Works probably has agents watching every port. Especially since they know I've betrayed them," Robin added, adjusting her cowl. "They'll be looking for us." She. "Don't worry," Luffy grinned. "I can sense if anyone strong is nearby now." As they approached the port, Luffy suddenly perked up, his observation Haki tingling. A wide grin spread across his face just as a shadow leapt high over the ship, briefly blocking out the sun. Thud! A tall figure landed gracefully on the Going Merry's deck, his blue coat fluttering in the wind and top hat secured firmly on his blonde head. The crew immediately tensed. Except for Luffy, who was practically vibrating with EXCFY, shouted joyfully, launching himself at his brother. The Revolutionary Army's Chief of Staff smoothly sidestepped the rubber missile, causing Luffy to crash into the mast. "I apologize for dropping in unannounced," he said politely, adjusting his cravat. "But I received some rather interesting orders from Dragon-san about meeting his son here." She. "You're still so formal," Luffy bounced back, undeterred. "But you're gonna remember everything soon." Sabo raised an eyebrow. "Remember? What do you mean?" Before he could finish his question, Luffy pulled back his fist, coating it in armament Haki. Grandpa's fist of love. "Wait, what?" Sabo's eyes widened in recognition just as Luffy's fist connected with his head. "Luffy!" The crew shouted in horror. "You can't just punch the Revolutionary Army's second-in-command." What was that?" Sabo touched his head, his eyes distant. "For a moment, I thought I saw children running through the forest." She. "It's working." Luffy cracked his knuckles. "Just need to hit you harder." "Wait, Luffy-kun." Sabo raised his hands defensively, stepping back. "I don't understand what you're trying to." Gomu no fist of love. Luffy launched another Haki-coated punch. Sabo's training kicked in as he smoothly dodged, his pipe appearing in his hands. Oi, what's gotten into you? Dragon-san's son or not, I can't just let you." "Stop being so formal." Luffy stretched both arms back. "You're my brother." "Brother?" Sabo's eyes widened. Another flash of memory, sake cups, promises, laughter, before it slipped away again. "Just stand still and let me hit you," Luffy whined, throwing more punches that Sabo continued to evade. "This is the weirdest family reunion ever." Usopp screamed from behind the mast where the rest of the crew had taken cover. "Shouldn't we stop them?" Chopper asked worriedly. Robin chuckled. "I think this might be working, Dr. San. Look at Mr. Chief of Staff's eyes." Indeed, with each near hit, Sabo's expression grew more confused, more conflicted, as if something was trying to break through the fog in his mind. Gomu no Gatling fist of love. Luffy unleashed a barrage of punches, each coated in Haki. Sabo weaved through them with practiced grace, but his movements were becoming less certain as fragments of memories kept flashing through his mind. "These moves. They're like when we were kids." Luffy grinned. "Remember, training in the forest? Fighting the Tiger Lord, stealing from bandits." "Bandits?" Sabo's pipe lowered slightly. "Dayton. That name, why do I?" Wham! Luffy's fist finally connected, sending Sabo crashing into the ship's railing. "Luffy!" The crew shouted in panic. "You're going to kill him." But Sabo didn't get up immediately. He sat there, hand pressed to his head, eyes wide and unfocused. "That punch. Just like Garp's." She. "Remember now?" Luffy bounced closer. I remember." Sabo's voice trembled. "A treehouse. A promise. Ace." His eyes suddenly cleared, filling with tears as he looked up at Luffy. "Lou." "Sabo." Luffy launched himself at his brother, this time successfully wrapping him in a rubbery hug. "Luffy." Sabo hugged back fiercely. tears streaming down his face. How could I forget? How could I forget my own brothers? The crew watched in amazement as the normally composed Revolutionary Army officer broke down crying while their captain laughed joyfully. I can't believe that actually worked, Nami muttered, shaking her head. The power of Garp's fist of love, Zoro smirked. Terrifying in its own way. As the brothers embraced, the rest of the crew slowly emerged from their hiding spots, still in awe of what they had just witnessed. Well, Sanji lit a cigarette. I guess that's one way to cure amnesia. Luffy's methods are unique, Robin chuckled softly. Suddenly, a column of fire erupted from the nearby port, followed by shouts and the sound of buildings collapsing. What the? Usopp's jaw dropped as he peered through his goggles. Guys, you're not gonna believe this, but there's another guy made of fire fighting the Marines at the dock. She, Ace is here too, Luffy grinned, still hugging Sabo. Sabo wiped his tears, a mischievous glint returning to his eyes. Well, little brother, shall we go greet our hot-headed sibling? Yosh! Luffy pumped his fist in the air, let's go. As the three brothers prepared to leap off the ship, Nami called out, wait, what about our plan? The rebellion? Crocodile? Luffy turned back, his trademark grin wider than ever. Don't worry, we'll kick Crocodile's ass, save Vivi's country, and have a big party with my brothers. It'll be an adventure, Fire Fist. Boom! A massive explosion lit up Nanohana's harbor. White blow. Dune. Steam erupted everywhere as fire and smoke collided. She, Ace is having fun, Luffy's eyes sparkled with stars. Food District is that way. That's not why we're here, Nami punched him on the head, leaving a comical bump. But Nami, Luffy whined with his signature pout before his face lit up again. Oh yeah, Gomu no. Wait, Luffy, Sabo started. Rocket, Gia, Sabo's scream echoed as they launched through the air, his hat nearly flying off. The rest of the crew watched in disbelief as their captain and the Revolutionary Army's second-in-command flew towards the chaos in the harbor. Should we follow them? Chopper asked hesitantly. Zoro sighed, already moving to lower the anchor. No, they can take care of themselves, we need to get what need of the town before these three brothers turn it upside down. This is not how I imagined our arrival in Alabasta, Vivi murmured, a mix of worry and amusement on her face. Meanwhile in the battle, Heiken, Ace grinned confidently as his fire fist surged forward. White launcher. Smoker countered. Crash, Ace, catch me. Huh? Ace looked up. Luffy? WAI? Dune? The three brothers crashed into a food stall, sending kebabs flying everywhere. Luffy immediately grabbed one midair with his mouth. MMPH, delicious, you idiot, both older brothers punched him, leaving two more bumps. What kind of reunion is this? Nearby civilians watched with dropped jaws and wide eyes. She. Hi Ace, Luffy beamed, completely unfazed by the collision. You idiot, Ace bonked him on the head, though there was no real anger in it. What are you doing here? And is that one of your crewmates? Nope. Luffy grinned wider, grabbing Sabo and pulling him closer. It's Sabo, he remembers now. Ace froze, his eyes widening as he stared at the blonde man in the top hat. His legs trembled slightly as memories of that terrible day flooded back. The burning ship, the newspaper article, the weeks of denial followed by months of grief. Sabo? Ace's voice cracked, something that hadn't happened since they were children. But, you died. We read about the explosion. Your boat. His fists clenched, flames flickering around them unconsciously as emotions warred across his face. Not quite, Sabo smiled softly, removing his hat and showing the burn scar underneath. Though I almost did. I lost my memories that day, but... He glanced at Luffy with a mix of fondness and exasperation. Apparently getting hit with a fist of love can cure amnesia. Ace took an unsteady step forward, reaching out before pulling back, as if afraid Sabo would disappear if he touched him. 10 years. For 10 years we thought. Ace, Sabo's voice was gentle, understanding the turmoil in his brother's eyes. I'm really here. She. Group hug. Luffy stretched his arms, wrapping them around both his brothers and pulling them together. Ace's composure finally broke as he grabbed both his brothers, his shoulders shaking. You bastard. making us think you were dead all this time." Before they could continue their reunion, a wall of smoke surrounded them. Fire Fist Ace, Smoker's gruff voice cut through the haze. "And now Straw Hat Luffy. This is my lucky day." "Smokey," Luffy waved cheerfully. "Long time no see." "You're not supposed to greet Marines like that," Ace and Sabo shouted in unison. Straw Hat. Smoker emerged from the smoke, only to pause at the bizarre scene. Luffy was stuffing his face with kebabs, his cheeks stretched impossibly wide. Ace was trying to strangle him while simultaneously fighting back tears. Sabo was calmly dusting off his hat, though his eyes were suspiciously wet. "Stop eating and fight properly." Smoker's teeth became shark-like in frustration. "Oh, Smokey," Luffy waved, bits of food flying everywhere. "Look, I found my brothers." "We can see that," the gathered Marines shouted with white eyes and dropped jaws. "Brothers," Hina appeared, blinking. Hina is confused. She. "Yeah, the cool fire one and the fancy hat one." "Don't introduce us like that," both brothers bonked him. Suddenly, Luffy's expression changed. "Ah, I smell more food that way." "Focus on the fight." Ace grabbed his rubbery cheek. Dragon Claw. Sabo launched forward, his pipe coated in Haki as he cleared a path through Marines. "Though I wouldn't mind some tea." "Not you too." Ace's head grew comically large as he yelled. Doom. The ground shook as more Marine reinforcements arrived. "More Marines." Luffy grinned, finally swallowing his food. "Hey Ace, Sabo. Let's do that thing." "What thing?" both asked. "You know, that cool combination move we did as kids." "We never did any combination moves." "Oh right, she. Don't laugh it off." For the first time in 10 years, the three brothers stood side by side, ready to face whatever came their way, just like they'd promised all those years ago. "Alright, let's show these Marines what the ASL brothers can do." Ace grinned, flames dancing around his fists. "ASL?" Sabo raised an eyebrow. "Ace, Sabo, Luffy." Luffy explained, stretching his arms. She. "That's not bad," Sabo admitted, twirling his pipe. "White launcher." Smoker charged forward, his body turning to smoke. Gomu no." Luffy wound up his arm. Heiken. Ace's fist blazed with fire. Dragon's Breath. Sabo's pipe glowed with Haki. Pistol, Fire Fist, Strike. The three attacks combined, creating a massive shockwave that sent Marines flying. "Gia!" They screamed comically as they soared through the air. Hina impressed. Hina muttered, her eyes wide. "Don't just stand there," Smoker growled. "Capture them." "Yes sir." The remaining Marines charged forward. She. "This is fun." Luffy laughed, dodging attacks left and right. "You haven't changed at all, have you?" Ace sighed, though he was smiling. "Less talking, more fighting," Sabo called out, knocking out Marines with precise strikes. As Ace and Sabo deal with the rest, Luffy attacks Smoker. "Straw Hat," Smoker growled, his jeet clashing with Luffy's Haki-enhanced fist. "You've gotten stronger, but you're still not getting away." Luffy grinned as he dodged another of Smoker's attacks, but his expression suddenly turned serious. He could sense more Marines approaching, and while he was enjoying the fight, he knew it was time to wrap things up. "Smokey, you're strong, but..." Luffy straightened up, his straw hat casting a shadow over his eyes. "I need to go now." A wave of dark energy suddenly erupted from Luffy, his conqueror's Haki spreading across the battlefield like a tidal wave. The approaching Marine reinforcements collapsed instantly, their eyes rolling back as they fell unconscious. The remaining Marines on the battlefield followed suit, dropping like flies. Even Smoker and Hina weren't immune to the pressure, both falling to their knees as the overwhelming force washed over them. Sweat dripped down their faces as they struggled against the invisible weight. Luffy walked past Smoker, pausing briefly beside him. "Get stronger, Smokey. Next time, let's have an even better fight." With that, Luffy turned to his brothers, who were watching with proud smirks. "Now we can catch up, she. The three brothers departed, leaving behind a field of unconscious Marines and two high-ranking officers still trying to process the immense power they just witnessed. The three brothers made their way through the city, eventually finding a secluded spot on a hillside overlooking the harbor. They sat down, just like they used to do as kids, though they were much bigger now. Ace stared at Sabo, flames flickering around his shoulders as emotions burned in his eyes. "You bastard. Do you have any idea how many sake cups we offered to your grave?" Ace. Sabo's grip tightened on his pipe, his own eyes shadowed by his hat. She. Luffy suddenly stretched his arms around both of them. "Sabo's a feast. This isn't the time for food." Both older brothers punched him, leaving comical bumps. "But I'm hungry," Luffy whined, his stomach growling loudly. Ace's serious expression cracked as he let out a snort, which turned into a laugh. Soon all three brothers were laughing, the tension breaking like a summer storm. "You haven't changed at all, have you, Lu?" Sabo wiped tears of laughter from his eyes. "Nope. She. Still the same crybaby who couldn't throw a punch," Ace smirked, dodging Luffy's rubber fist. "I'm stronger now," Luffy protested. "I can kick both your butts." "Oh," Sabo twirled his pipe with a dangerous grin. "Want to test that theory?" "Bring it on." Ace's fists ignited. "Yeah," Luffy wound up his arm. The three brothers squared off, just like they used to in the forests of Dawn Island, each wearing matching grins that promised chaos. Gomu no. Heiken. Dragon. Boom. Crash. Bang. The hillside erupted in a spectacular display of fire, rubber, and Haki as the three strongest brothers in the world celebrated their reunion the only way they knew how: by trying to beat each other up while laughing their heads off. After their playful brawl, the three brothers lay sprawled on the scorched hillside, panting and grinning. She. "I totally won," Luffy declared, despite sporting several burns and bruises. "In your dreams," Ace scoffed, his hat askew. "I definitely had more hits." "You're both delusional," Sabo adjusted his cracked goggles. "My pipe clearly connected more times." They looked at each other's disheveled state before bursting into laughter again. Sabo turned to Luffy, his expression curious yet serious. "Lu, who trained you to use Haki? And how did you know I was alive? That Conqueror's Haki you used back there, it wasn't amateur level." She. Luffy grinned, adjusting his straw hat. "It's a mystery." "Don't give us that." Both older brothers bonked him on the head. Luffy rubbed his bumps, still grinning. "Well, I saw the future." Ace and Sabo exchanged skeptical looks. "The future?" Ace raised an eyebrow. "What are you talking about?" "Yep. I saw lots of stuff. Like how Sabo was alive and working with Dad, and..." Luffy's expression suddenly turned serious as he looked at Ace. "And I saw what happens if you chase Blackbeard." Ace's eyes widened, while Sabo looked between them with concern. "What do you mean, Lu?" Sabo asked carefully. Luffy's voice trembled as he spoke, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. "Because Blackbeard killed one of Ace's crew, he started chasing him, and when he found him..." Luffy's whole body shook with emotion. "Blackbeard was also after me. So Ace fought him and lost. And Blackbeard gave him to the Marines." Tears started streaming down Luffy's face as he continued, his voice breaking. "I really tried, sniff, to save Ace, sniff, but, Ace, sniff, died." Ace and Sabo were frozen in shock, watching their usually cheerful little brother break down in front of them. Ace felt his heart clench at the raw pain in Luffy's voice. "Luffy." Ace moved closer to his crying brother. "I won't let it happen again," Luffy suddenly shouted through his tears, looking up at Ace with fierce determination. "I won't lose my brother again. That's why. That's why I needed both my brothers here. Together we're stronger, together we can beat him." Sabo wrapped an arm around Luffy's shoulders, while Ace sat there, processing the weight of what he'd just heard. The future Luffy had seen. The pain his little brother had endured. It was all because of his pursuit of revenge. Ace's eyes widened as a realization hit him. "Lu, you said I chased Blackbeard because he killed one of our crewmates." He paused, looking directly at Luffy. "But Thatch, the one he tried to kill, he survived by a miracle." Luffy's tears suddenly stopped, his eyes bulging out comically in typical Luffy fashion. "Really?" "Yeah," Ace nodded, a small smile forming on his face. "That bastard stabbed Thatch in the back trying to steal a devil fruit. But Marco found him just in time. Our doctors worked non-stop for 3 days, and that stubborn cook refused to die. He's still recovering, but he's alive. She. Luffy's face split into his signature grin, tears forgotten. That's amazing, in the future, he died. This is much better. Sabo couldn't help but chuckle at the sudden mood swing. So the future's already changing, huh? But Ace's expression turned serious again. Blackbeard is still out there, and he has the dark fruit now. He's still dangerous. She. Yeah. This time we'll beat him together. Luffy jumped up, his energy completely restored. Ace is super strong. Sabo is super strong. And I'm super strong too. There's no way we can lose. Oi. Sabo adjusted his hat, grinning. Don't get too excited yet, Lou. We need a plan first. Plan? Luffy tilted his head, picking his nose. What for? We just need to punch him really hard. You idiot. Both Ace and Sabo bonked him on the head simultaneously. Ouch. Luffy rubbed the growing bumps. What was that for? This is exactly why you need your big brothers, Ace sighed, but couldn't hide his fond smile. You can't just rush in without thinking. But AC, Luffy whined, thinking makes my head hurt. That's because your brain is made of rubber too, Sabo teased, dodging Luffy's stretchy punch. Mean? Luffy pouted, but then his stomach growled loudly. Ah, I'm hungry, Sanji, meat. Ah, right. We're not on Mary. Luffy laughed, rubbing his belly. Oi, Ace. Let's go hunting. I want some crocodile meat. You never change, do you? Ace grinned, standing up. Fine, but I bet I can catch a bigger one than you. No way. I'm gonna catch the biggest one. Luffy jumped up, already running towards the forest. Oi. Sabo bonked both of them with his pipe, leaving matching bumps. We're in a desert city. There aren't any forests to hunt in, you idiots. Oh yeah. She. Luffy laughed, rubbing his head. Right. Ace coughed, trying to maintain his dignity despite the obvious bump. Besides, Sabo adjusted his hat with a smirk. I saw some pretty good restaurants in town. My treat. Really? Luffy's eyes turned to meat shapes. Food? Let's go? Wait, Ace grabbed Luffy's stretching arm before he could rock it off. Won't the Marines be looking for us? She. Don't worry, I knocked them all out. That's not the point. Sabo sighed but then grinned mischievously. Though I suppose we could use disguises. 10 minutes later. This is the worst disguise ever. Ace shouted with shark teeth as they sat in a restaurant, wearing fake mustaches that were falling off. She. Mine's cool. Luffy's had already fallen into his soup. At least try to be subtle. Sabo muttered, though his mustache was crooked. More meat. Luffy called out, his cheeks stuffed like a hamster. Stop ordering so much. Both brothers yelled as the pile of plates grew impossibly high. The other customers watched with dropped jaws as the three mysterious men devoured enough food for an army, their pathetic disguises fooling no one. Those are definitely the guys from earlier, a civilian whispered. Shush, don't make eye contact, another responded. More please. All three brothers called out in unison, their plates somehow already empty again. The poor restaurant owner could only cry tears of joy at his suddenly booming business, even as he wondered if his kitchen could keep up with these monsters' appetites. Back on the Going Merry, the Straw Hat crew reached the harbor. Alright, listen up. Nami gathered everyone on Mary's deck. We need to prepare for crossing the desert. And avoid those three walking disasters. Usopp muttered, glancing at the smoke still rising from parts of the city. Vivi and I will get desert clothes for everyone, Nami continued, ignoring him. Sanji-kun, you and Usopp handle supplies. Hi, Nami Swan. Sanji twirled with hearts in his Ito go with the love cook. Usopp grumbled. To carry everything, obviously, Nami replied with a sweet smile that promised debt if he complained. I'll gather information about Crocodile's movements, Robin spoke up, her arms crossed. With Luffy sans changing the future, Crocodile's plan has likely shifted. Good thinking, Nami nodded. We need to know if he's changed his plans. Vivi stepped forward, still slightly uncertain around Robin despite knowing she was an ally now. Robin-san, could you also locate the rebel army? I need to tell Koza the truth about who's really behind this civil war. Robin smiled mysteriously. Of course, Princess San. Just try not to get caught up in any explosions. Nami called out as they prepared to split up. "We've had enough chaos for one day." Boom! A distant explosion rocked the harbor, followed by familiar laughter. She. You idiot, not the restaurant." The crew collectively face-palmed. "Maybe we should hurry," Usopp suggested weakly. Agreed, everyone responded in unison. As they dispersed into the city, more explosions and shouts echoed in the distance, accompanied by the sounds of Marines running around in panic. Those three. Nami sighed, but couldn't help smiling. Their captain's joy at reuniting with his brothers was infectious, even if it meant half the city might end up destroyed. "At least they're having fun," Vivi giggled. "Too much fun," Nami grumbled, but her smile remained. "Come on, let's get those clothes before they burn down all the shops." "Wait," Chopper suddenly called out. "What about me and Zoro?" Quack! The duck flapped his wings indignantly. "Oh right." Nami turned back, then noticed Zoro was already walking in a completely wrong direction. "Oi! The city's this way." "I knew that," Zoro snapped, somehow having ended up facing the ocean. "You stay on the ship," everyone shouted at him with shark teeth. "TCH," Zoro crossed his arms. "I was just testing you." "Liar, I'll stay with Zoro," Chopper volunteered. "Someone needs to make sure he doesn't get lost trying to guard Mary." "I don't get lost. You got lost going from the bow to the stern yesterday," Usopp muttered. "What was that?" "Nothing," Usopp hid behind Sanji. "Karoo, you come with us," Vivi patted her duck's head. "We'll need help carrying all the clothes." Quack! Karoo saluted with his wing. Boom! Another explosion rocked the harbor. Ace set the bill on fire. It was an accident. She. Free food. That's not how it works. The crew sweat dropped collectively. Let's just hurry, Nami rubbed her temples, before those three brothers bankrupt every restaurant in Alabasta. "Or burn them down," Usopp added. "Or both," everyone agreed with resigned expressions. As they finally dispersed into the city, Zoro was already somehow tangled in the rigging despite not moving from his spot. "How did you even do that?" Chopper screamed with wide eyes. "The ropes moved," Zoro stated seriously. "They did not." Meanwhile, in Crocodile's hidden office at Rain Dinner's casino. "Sir," a frantic Baroque works agent burst in. "Reports from Nanohana, Fire Fist Ace, Revolutionary Army's Chief of Staff, and Straw Hat Luffy are in Alabasta. They're brothers, sir." Crack! Crocodile's grip shattered his glass of wine. "What did you say?" "Look." The agent held up 3 wanted posters with shaking hands. "They're calling themselves the ASL Brothers. They destroyed half of Nanohana's harbor and knocked out 2 marine captains." Kuhahaha. Crocodile's laugh was dark as sand swirled around him. "So the hero of the Marines has 3 criminal grandsons. How amusing." "Sir," Mr. One stepped forward. "The operation in Alubarna is proceeding as planned, but with these developments." "We continue." Crocodile stood, his hook gleaming in the dim light. "The Marines will be too focused on those 3 troublemakers to notice our movements. Though we'll need to accelerate our timeline. They'll likely send vice admirals or even an admiral now." "And the Straw Hats?" "The Straw Hats." Crocodile exhaled a cloud of cigar smoke, his hook tapping against his desk. "With what I've gathered, their captain is an idiot, but Miss All Sundays joining them complicates things. And now with the Revolutionary Army's second in command and the Whitebeard's 2nd Division captain here. They'll likely head to Alubarna," Mr. One observed. "Perfect." Crocodile's grin turned predatory. "Let them come. I'll bury them all there and build my new country from their graves." Kuhahaha. "Your orders, sir?" "Send word to our agents in the capital. It's time for the final phase." Crocodile stood, sand swirling menacingly around him. "Those 3 brothers think they can interfere with my plans? I'll show them the true meaning of despair in this desert kingdom." "Yes, sir." Mr. One bowed before leaving. Crocodile turned to the window overlooking his casino, his expression darkening. "Come to Alubarna, Straw Hat. Bring your precious brothers. I'll make sure this desert becomes your tomb." In Nanohana, the 3 brothers finally finished their meal, and the subsequent chaos, and found a quiet rooftop to plan their next moves. "So," Sabo adjusted his hat, his expression turning serious. "What exactly are we dealing with here, Lou? You mentioned seeing the future. What happens in Alabasta?" Oh yeah. Luffy perked up. Crocodile tries to take over Vivi's country. He makes everyone fight each other with fake rain. Dance powder, Ace nodded. We heard rumors about that. But this time it's different, Luffy grinned. Robin's on our side now. She knows all his plans, and I'm way stronger. Robin? Sabo raised an eyebrow. Nico Robin? The archaeologist? She. Yeah, she's my nakama now. You recruited the devil child? Ace whistled. You do attract interesting people, Lou. Speaking of interesting, Sabo leaned forward, who taught Haki in the future. Oh yeah. Luffy bounced excitedly. In the future, Rayleigh taught me Haki, so this time I already know how to use it. Rayleigh? Both brothers' jaws dropped. As in Dark King Rayleigh? Yep. He's super strong, she. Lou. Ace rubbed his temples. You can't just casually mention being trained by that man's first mate. She. Why not? Rayleigh's cool, Luffy grinned, picking his nose casually. That's not the point. Ace bonked him, and stop picking your nose. But AC, Luffy whined, rubbing the new bump. Sabo chuckled at their antics before turning serious again. So, what's our plan? We can't just let Crocodile continue his scheme. Oh, I know. Luffy pumped his fists. We kick his ass. That's not a plan, both brothers hit him simultaneously. But it worked last time, Luffy protested, sporting 2 new bumps. Last time? Ace raised an eyebrow. Yeah, I punched him hard and sent him flying through bedrock, she. Sabo adjusted his goggles thoughtfully. Well, with your Haki now, you could probably handle him alone. But what about the Civil War? And the Marines? Don't worry, Luffy grinned. My crew's super strong, and Robin knows all of Crocodile's secrets. Still, Ace crossed his arms, we should growl. Ah, I'm hungry again. Luffy announced. You just ate enough for an army, his brothers shouted with shark teeth. She. But fighting makes me hungry, Luffy patted his stretched stomach. Everything makes you hungry, Ace sighed, though a fond smile played on his lips. Speaking of fighting, Sabo twirled his pipe thoughtfully. We should probably move soon. Those Marines won't stay down forever. Oh yeah. Luffy jumped up. I need to find my crew. They're probably getting supplies and stuff. Your crew? Ace's expression turned slightly protective. Are they taking good care of my little brother? They're the best. Luffy beamed. Zoro's super strong, and Nami's super smart, and Usopp tells cool stories, and Sanji makes the best meat, and Chopper's an awesome doctor, and Robin knows everything, and… Breathe, Lou, Sabo chuckled. Meat, Luffy suddenly shouted, his nose twitching. I smell Sanji's cooking. Before either brother could stop him, Luffy stretched his arms out. Gomu Gomu no rocket. Oi! Both brothers shouted as Luffy grabbed them. Wait. Whoosh! The 3 brothers soared through the air, Luffy laughing while Ace and Sabo screamed, though they'd later deny it. Luffy, you idiot! Ace's flames trailed behind them. This isn't how the Revolutionary Army's chief of staff should travel, Sabo clutched his hat desperately. She. This is fun. Crash. The 3 brothers landed, or more accurately, crashed, onto the Going Merry's deck, creating a small crater in the wood. My ship! Usopp cried with white eyes. She. We're back! Luffy announced cheerfully, completely unfazed by the crash landing. You could have used the ladder. Nami punched all 3 brothers, leaving matching bumps. Scary. Ace and Sabo muttered in unison, impressed by someone actually disciplining their little brother. Ah! A new figure landed gracefully on the deck, contrasting with the brothers' crash landing. Sabo-kun, you idiot! Koala's fist connected with Sabo's head, leaving a steaming bump. Do you know how long we've been looking for you? Koala. Sabo clutched his new bump. I can explain. We had to follow the trail of explosions to find you. Koala's teeth became shark-like. What happened to being discreet? She. Who's this? Luffy tilted his head. I'm Koala, this idiot's partner in the Revolutionary Army. She bowed politely to the crew before turning back to glare at Sabo. Oh, Ace grinned mischievously. Just partners? Yes. Both Sabo and Koala shouted, faces red. Robin observed the newcomer with interest. Another revolutionary? This is becoming quite the gathering. Anyway, Nami clapped her hands. We need to prepare for the desert. That won't be necessary, Robin interrupted, her expression serious. My intelligence network indicates Crocodile has accelerated his plans significantly. The rebellion is about to begin in Alubarna. We intercepted some marine communications, Koala reported, her expression serious. They're temporarily withdrawing from Nanohana, but they're sending at least 3 vice admirals as reinforcement. 3 vice admirals? Usopp's knees started shaking. Isn't that overkill? There's more, Koala continued. There's a possibility that Garp the Fist might come personally. Garp? Most of the crew shouted in panic. Luffy just picked his nose. Gramps is coming? Gee Gramps? Koala's jaw dropped, looking between Luffy and the others. Oh right, you didn't know, Sabo chuckled nervously. Garp is our grandfather. Well, Luffy and Ace is by blood, mine by trauma. The hero of the Marines. Is your grandfather? Koala stared at them in disbelief. She. Yeah. His fists of love hurt. Luffy chirped, while Ace and Sabo shuddered at the memories. This explains so much, Koala muttered. More importantly, Robin interjected smoothly, it seems Crocodile is becoming careless. He's leaving obvious evidence of his involvement. The pressure must be getting to him, Nami observed. Between the Marines, the Revolutionary Army, and having Fire Fist Ace show up. He's probably rushing his plans, Zoro added, hand on his swords. The rebellion could start any moment, Vivi wrung her hands anxiously. Then what are we waiting for? Sanji lit a cigarette. Let's go kick that sandy bastard's ass. Yeah. Luffy pumped his fists. Let's go. Wait, Chopper spoke up. Shouldn't we make some kind of plan first? Since when do Luffy's plans ever work? Usopp muttered. Oi, Luffy pouted. He's got a point though, Ace grinned. Lou's more of a punch first, think never kind of guy. Like you're any better, Sabo teased. Says the guy who blew up half of Nanohana, Koala deadpanned. That was an accident. Focus, Nami bonked them all. We need to move now. Right, everyone straightened up. Are you coming with us, Koala? Nami asked. Or do you need to return to your revolutionary friends? Koala shook her head. We'll stay here. There are still bounty hunters lurking around, and someone needs to protect our ship. We don't know when the Marines might show up. Good point, Nami nodded. Robin, is there any shortcut to reach the capital quickly? Yes, Robin replied thoughtfully. There's a canal that divides Alabasta. It's not meant for ships, but if we take a small vessel, we could row through it. Row? Usopp's shoulders slumped. In this heat? With our captains and everyone's strength, it shouldn't take too long, Robin smiled. No need for that, Ace interrupted with a confident grin. I can just drag the boat with my fire. It'll be much faster. You can do that? Chopper asked with stars in his eyes. Of course. Ace's fist burst into flames. I've gotten pretty good at using my powers for transportation. That would certainly save time, Robin mused. And the heat won't be an issue with your fire powers. Then it said excitedly. Let's go kick Crocodile's ass. Hold on, Nami raised her hand. We still need to decide who's going. We can't all fit in a small boat. I'm definitely going, Vivi said firmly. This is my country. And I need to punch that sandy bastard, Luffy declared. Someone needs to keep an eye on these idiots, Zoro sighed. If Marimo's going, I'm going too, Sanji announced. What was that, Arrow Cook? You heard me, Mosshead. Enough. Nami's fists connected with both their heads. We don't have time for this. Alright, Nami took charge. Luffy, Ace, Zoro, Sanji, Vivi, and Robin will take the small vessel. The rest of us will stay with the Mary. Why can't I go? Usopp protested weakly, though clearly relieved. Because someone needs to protect the ship, Nami explained. And you're our brave warrior of the sea, right? Oh of course. Usopp puffed up his chest. Leave it to Captain Usopp. I should stay too, Chopper added, in case anyone needs medical attention. Good thinking, Sabo nodded. I'll stay as well. Between the Marines and bounty hunters, you might need backup. She. Then it's decided, Luffy grinned. Let's go. Wait. Nami called out. Robin, where exactly is this canal? Robin pointed towards the east. There's a hidden entrance about 2 miles that way. We can acquire a suitable vessel from the local fishermen. No need, Ace smirked, jumping down to the dock. He returned moments later with a decent-sized rowing boat. Found this just sitting there. You stole it, everyone except Luffy shouted. Borrowed, Ace corrected with a grin. We'll return it, probably. Like brother, Sabo sighed fondly. Alright, everyone going to Alubarna, get in, Nami ordered. And please try not to destroy half the country while you're at it. No promises. Luffy laughed as he jumped into the boat. That's what we're afraid of, Usopp muttered. As the others boarded the small vessel, Ace's flames began to wrap around the bow like fiery ropes. Hold on tight, he warned with a mischievous grin. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Nami wondered aloud. Because you're smart, Koala replied dryly. Whoosh. The boat shot forward like a rocket, Ace's flames propelling it at incredible speed while the others held on for dear life. Yahoo! Luffy cheered. This is not safe, Vivi screamed. Since when has anything involving these brothers been safe? Robin chuckled, using her powers to secure everyone. Back on the Mary, the others watched the boat disappear into the distance. They'll be fine, Sabo said, though his tone suggested he was trying to convince himself. Define, fine, Koala deadpanned. Well, at least they can't cause more trouble than they already have, Usopp offered. Everyone stared at him. I just jinxed it, didn't I? Yep, they all nodded. The small vessel continued its blazing path toward Alubarna, leaving a trail of steam in its wake as Ace's flames pushed it to impossible speeds. At a temporary marine outpost in Nanohana's port, Captain Hina stood before a Den Den Mushi, her expression unusually tense. The snail's face mimicked the stern expression of Fleet Admiral Sengoku as his voice came through. This had better be important, Captain Hina, Sengoku's voice crackled through the Den Den Mushi. I don't appreciate being disturbed during a war council meeting. Hina apologizes, she spoke in her characteristic third-person manner, but the situation in Alabasta has become significantly more complicated. Fire Fist Ace has been confirmed in Nanohana. The Den Den Mushi's eyes widened. Whitebeard's 2nd Division commander? Are you certain? Yes. And there's more, Hina continued, lighting a cigarette. He was seen with Straw Hat Luffy and a high-ranking Revolutionary Army officer. And Hina has discovered something disturbing. What is it? They're brothers, Hina reported. All three of them. They were quite vocal about it during their destructive reunion in the marketplace. The Den Den Mushi's expression froze. What did you say? Fire Fist Ace, Straw Hat Luffy, and the Revolutionary. They're brothers. Hina heard it clearly. A long, heavy silence followed. Are you absolutely certain about this? Sengoku's voice had become dangerously quiet. Yes. They showed familiar behavior. And their fighting styles. Hina sees similarities. This changes everything, Sengoku growled. I'm sending Vice Admirals Momonga, Doberman, and Onigumo to your location immediately, and the Den Den Mushi's expression shifted to one of resignation. I'll have to inform Garp. Though knowing him, he'll probably insist on coming himself. Should Hina attempt to engage them? No, maintain surveillance only. If they're truly brothers. This situation is far more complicated than we initially thought. As Hina was about to end the call, Smoker burst into the room, his usual cigars trailing smoke. Captain Hina, he growled, barely acknowledging the active Den Den Mushi. My surveillance on Crocodile has confirmed it. He's directly connected to the rebellion. Smoker? Sengoku's voice came through the snail. Explain. My men intercepted communications between Baroque Works agents, Smoker reported gruffly. They're planning to trigger the rebellion in Alubarna today. And those 3 pirates we were tracking are heading straight there. The brothers? Hina asked. Yeah, Smoker's expression darkened. They took a small vessel through the canal. Fire Fist is propelling it with his powers. At their current speed, they'll reach Alubarna before us. Request permission to pursue, both captains spoke simultaneously. Sengoku's voice grew stern through the Den Den Mushi. Denied. The nearest Vice Admiral is at least a day away from your position. You don't have the firepower to engage a warlord and those 3 simultaneously. But sir, Smoker started to protest. Listen carefully, Sengoku cut him off. Your priority is to secure all ports and prevent any ships from leaving Alabasta. We can't risk letting any of them escape before reinforcements arrive." Smoker's fists clenched, smoke billowing more intensely from his cigars. "With all due respect, Fleet Admiral, I'm going after them with or without permission." "You dare to?" Sengoku's voice rose dangerously. "They're heading straight into whatever Crocodile has planned." Smoker pressed on. "We can't just sit here and wait." A long, tense silence followed before Sengoku spoke again, his voice heavy with resignation. "You're as stubborn as Garp sometimes, Smoker. Fine. You can pursue them, but only with volunteers. I won't risk ordering Marines into what could be a suicide mission. And understand this, there will be no backup coming." "Understood. One more thing," Sengoku added. "While you're there, gather accurate intelligence about the situation in Alabasta. We need to know exactly what's happening with the rebellion, Crocodile's involvement, and—" He paused, "those three brothers." "Yes, sir. Don't die, Captain Smoker. The Marines need good men like you." As the Den Den Mushi clicked off, Hina turned to Smoker. "Hina thinks you're crazy." "Probably," Smoker grunted, already heading for the door. "Time to see who's willing to follow me into this mess." At Marine headquarters, Sengoku massaged his temples, dreading the conversation to come. "Garp," he bellowed. "Get in here." A crash echoed through the office as Garp burst through the wall, leaving yet another Garp-shaped hole. "Can't you use the door like a normal person?" Sengoku grumbled. "Bawahaha. Where's the fun in that?" Garp laughed, plopping down in a chair and pulling out a bag of crackers. "What's so urgent?" Sengoku's expression turned serious. "It's about your grandsons." "Luffy causing trouble again?" Garp munched on his crackers, seemingly unconcerned. "All three of them are in Alabasta." Garp froze mid-bite. "What do you mean, all three, Sabo?" His voice cracked slightly. "Sabo died years ago." "He's alive, Garp. And he's with the Revolutionaries. Confirm he was seen with Ace and Luffy and Nanohana. They were quite vocal about being brothers." The crackers fell from Garp's hand, scattering across the floor. For once, the boisterous Vice Admiral was completely silent, his face a mix of shock, joy, and worry. "Those stupid grandsons of mine," he finally muttered, his voice thick with emotion. "All this time, Sabo was." "This complicates things significantly," Sengoku said. "A Whitebeard commander, a revolutionary officer, and an up-and-coming pirate. All brothers, all in one place." "Bawahaha." Garp's laugh suddenly returned, though it sounded slightly forced. "Those brats are going to give me a heart attack one of these days." "Garp, this is serious." "Of course it is. My grandson is alive." Garp stood up, his usual energy returning. "I'm going to Alabasta." "You will do no such thing," Sengoku started, then sighed heavily. "That's what I wish I could say, but with Whitebeard's recent movements, we're spread too thin. I've already assigned Vice Admirals Momonga, Doberman, and Onigumo to handle the situation." Garp's expression darkened. "Onigumo? That man's too extreme, he might—" "I know," Sengoku cut him off. "That's exactly why I need you there. Keep them in check, Garp. We can't afford to turn this into a full-scale war with both Whitebeard and the Revolutionary Army." "So you're sending me after all?" Garp's serious demeanor cracked into a wide grin. "Don't look so pleased," Sengoku growled. "This is a delicate situation. Try to remember you're a Marine Vice Admiral first, and a grandfather second." "Bawahaha, of course," Garp laughed, though there was a glint in his eye that made Sengoku uneasy. "I mean it, Garp. Don't make me regret this decision. We need to handle this situation delicately. A warlord potentially going rogue, a country on the brink of civil war, and now your three grandsons in the middle of it. Don't worry so much, Sengoku. Your goat will get indigestion." Garp was already heading for the hole he'd made in the wall. "I'll keep things under control." "Use the door to leave at least," Sengoku shouted after him. But Garp was already gone, his laughter echoing through the halls. Sengoku slumped in his chair, feeding a cracker to his goat. "Why do I feel like I just made things more complicated?" Meanwhile, in the canal heading towards Alubarna, Ace's flames continued propelling the small vessel at incredible speeds. "Yahoo!" Luffy cheered, perched precariously on the bow. "This is awesome." "Get down from there, you rubber idiot," Sanji yelled, trying to keep their supplies from flying overboard. "Foo foo foo," Robin chuckled, using her powers to create a safety net of arms around the boat. "This is certainly an interesting way to travel." "Is this really safe?" Vivi asked nervously, clinging to the side. "Probably not," Zoro grinned, seeming completely unbothered by the wild ride. "We're making good time though," Ace called from the stern, his flames blazing. "At this rate, we'll reach Alubarna before sunset." Suddenly, Luffy's expression turned serious. "Someone's following us." "Marines?" Zoro's hand moved to his swords. "No." Luffy closed his eyes, focusing his observation Haki. "It's Smokey. Captain Smoker." Vivi looked worried. "He must have figured out where we're heading." "Let him come," Ace smirked, his flames burning brighter. "We've got more important things to worry about." Indeed, Robin's expression turned serious. "My contacts report that Crocodile has already started moving his pieces. The rebellion could begin any moment." "Then we better hurry." Luffy punched his palm. "I'm gonna kick that sandy bastard's ass." "Language," Sanji automatically scolded, then blinked. "Wait, why am I acting like the responsible one?" "Because someone has to," Zoro smirked. "What was that, Marimo?" "You heard me, Arrow Cook. Focus," Vivi shouted, surprising everyone. "My people are about to kill each other, and you're fighting about nonsense." Both men immediately looked ashamed. "Sorry, Vivi-chan." "Don't worry, Vivi," Luffy grinned confidently. "We'll stop Crocodile, I promise." As they continued their high-speed journey, none of them noticed the small figure flying high above them. In Crocodile's private transport heading to Alubarna. "Sir," Miss Doublefinger reported, "our spy birds confirm the Straw Hats are using the canal route. They'll reach Alubarna before nightfall." "Perfect." Crocodile exhaled a cloud of cigar smoke, his hook gleaming. "And the rebels?" "Already mobilizing," Mr. One answered from his position by the window. "They'll reach the capital gates within hours." Kuhahaha. Crocodile's laugh was cold and calculating. "Everything is falling into place. Those fools are playing right into my hands." "But sir," Miss Doublefinger hesitated, "what about Fire Fist Ace and the Revolutionary? They weren't part of the original plan." "Those brothers," Crocodile's expression darkened. "They're powerful, yes, but they have one fatal weakness: each other. When the time comes, they'll be too busy trying to protect one another to stop what's coming." He turned to his subordinates, sand swirling menacingly around him. "Mr. One, you know your position. When the rebels breach the gates, eliminate anyone who might expose our true plans. Miss Doublefinger, prepare the dance powder. When I give the signal, make it raw and near the palace." "Yes, sir, let them come," Crocodile smirked, watching the desert landscape pass by. "I'll bury them all in this kingdom's sand." The transport continued its journey toward Alubarna, where Crocodile's final plans were about to unfold. Meanwhile, in the canal. Crack. What was that?" Usopp asked nervously as the boat made an ominous sound. The wood's starting to dry out from the heat, Robin observed calmly, watching as the planks began to warp. "Ace. Slow down," Vivi called out. "No way," Ace grinned, his flames burning even brighter. "We're having a great time." "But the boat," Sanji started. Crack. Snap. Shi. "This is fun?" Luffy laughed as pieces of the boat began flying off. "This isn't fun at all," everyone else shouted. The boat hit the shore at full speed, somehow staying intact just long enough to start skidding across the desert sand, leaving a trail of broken planks behind it. "We're gonna die," Vivi screamed as they bounced over a dune. "No, we won't," Luffy grinned, stretching his arms to hold the rapidly disintegrating boat together. "This is just like a roller coaster." "What's a roller coaster?" Zoro asked, somehow managing to look completely unbothered despite hanging halfway off the boat. Crack. Snap. Creak. "The boat's not going to last much longer," Robin noted with amusement, using her powers to keep their supplies from flying away. "Then we'll just have to go faster," Ace's flames erupted with new intensity. "That's not the solution," everyone screamed as the boat literally started falling apart beneath them. "Yahoo!" Luffy cheered as they hit another dune, the boat now more splinters than vessel. The remains of their boat hit another dune at full speed, finally shattering completely. Hold on. Luffy stretched his arms, grabbing everyone as the boat disintegrated beneath them. To what? They all screamed as they went airborne. She. To me. Whoosh! Ace's flames propelled the now boatless group forward, while Luffy acted as a rubber safety net, bouncing them across the dunes. This is not proper desert travel, Vivi wailed as they bounced over another sand dune. But it's faster, Luffy laughed, stretching to absorb another impact. I think I'm going to be sick. Sanji turned slightly green. Weak, Zoro smirked, though his face was suspiciously pale. What was that, Marimo? Foo, Robin chuckled, using her powers to stabilize their trajectory. At least we're making good time. Whoosh! They crested another dune, and suddenly Alubarna's walls appeared on the horizon. There it is, Vivi pointed, momentarily forgetting her terror. Yosh! Luffy grinned. Ace, maximum speed. You got it, little brother. Ace's flames erupted even brighter. Wait, no, the others started to protest. Too late. The human projectiles shot toward Alubarna like a rubber-wrapped meteor, their screams, and Luffy's laughter, echoing across the desert. We're all gonna die, Sanji yelled. This is the worst transportation ever, Vivi cried. Weeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeee approaching fireball wrapped in rubber. Should we sound the alarm? One asked uncertainly. For what? A flying rubber band on fire, his companion replied. They were still debating when the Straw Hat meteor shot over their heads. Incoming! Luffy shouted gleefully as they approached the city proper. We can see that! Everyone screamed back. The group crash landed in Alubarna's main square, creating a small crater as Luffy's rubber body cushioned their impact. Land ho! She, Luffy laughed, bouncing back to his feet. We're not on a ship anymore, everyone shouted. Is everyone alive? Vivi asked dizzily, her hair completely disheveled. Unfortunately, Sanji groaned, lighting a miraculously unbroken cigarette. That was fun. Ace grinned, his flames flickering as he helped Robin to her feet. Your definition of fun needs work, Zoro muttered, though he was smirking. Suddenly, Luffy's expression turned serious. Someone's coming, lots of someone. As if on cue, the sound of marching feet and angry shouts filled the air. The rebels were approaching from one direction, while royal guards mobilized from another. We're too late. Vivi's eyes widened in horror. The rebellion is already starting. No, Robin stepped forward, her arms crossed. There's still time. Crocodile hasn't arrived yet. He'll want to watch his plan unfold personally. Then let's split up. Luffy punched his palm. Vivi, go stop the rebels. Zoro and Sanji. Protector, Robin. You and Ace find that bomb. I'm gonna beat Crocodile. Everyone stared at Luffy in shock. That's a good plan, Sanji admitted. Who are you and what have you done with our captain? They shouted. She. I can make plans sometimes. Are you sure about going alone, little brother? Ace asked, flames flickering around his shoulders. Yeah, I promised. Vivi-eyed grinned, punching his fist into his palm. Foo. Robin crossed her arms. I know where they're keeping the bomb. Fire-san, shall we? Be careful, Luffy-san, Vivi called out as she mounted Karoo. Don't do anything too stupid, Captain, Zoro smirked, hands resting on his swords. Just leave the rebels to us. Sanji lit a fresh cigarette. We'll keep Vivi-chan safe. She. I know you will. Luffy adjusted his hat. Now let's go. We've got a country to save. The group split off in different directions, Vivi, Zoro, and Sanji heading toward the approaching rebels, while Ace and Robin dashed toward the clock tower. Luffy watched them go for a moment before turning toward the palace. Alright, Crocodile, he cracked his knuckles, time for round 4. Luffy made his way through Alubarna's streets toward the palace, where he knew Crocodile would be waiting. His expression was determined, no longer showing his usual carefree grin. This time will be different, he muttered, his fist clenching as he coded it in Haki. I won't let him hurt anyone. Meanwhile, at the city gates, Vivi rode Karoo toward the approaching rebel army, with Zoro and Sanji flanking her on either side. Koza, she called out, spotting her childhood friend leading the charge. Please, you must listen. In another part of the city, Ace and Robin raced toward the clock tower, Known time was running short. The bomb should be hidden in the tower's highest chamber, Robin explained as they ran. Right, Ace nodded, flames flickering around him. Let's disarm it quickly so we can help Luffy. The pieces were set, and the battle for Alabasta's future was about to begin. Vivi ran at full speed toward the advancing rebel army, her heart pounding as she recognized the familiar figure leading the charge. Koza, she shouted, her voice carrying over the sound of marching feet. Please stop, this is all a misunderstanding. Behind her, Zoro and Sanji kept pace, ready to protect their friend if needed. Leader, some rebels called out as Koza raised his hand, bringing the army to a halt. Vivi? Koza's eyes widened behind his glasses as he recognized the princess. What are you doing here? Listen to me, please, Vivi, taking a step forward. This rebellion, it's all part of Crocodile's plan. He's been manipulating both sides. Crocodile? Koza frowned. The warlord who's been protecting our people? No, Vivi shook her head desperately. He's the one behind everything, the dance powder, the false rain, all of it. The rebels murmured among themselves, uncertainty spreading through their ranks. Can you prove this? Koza asked, though his voice held less hostility now. Yes, we have evidence, Vivi started, but was interrupted by a strange sight that made everyone pause. Green smoke began rising from the palace direction, curling up toward the sky. Suddenly, rain started falling, but only around the palace area. Rain? Koza's eyes narrowed. But how? No, Vivi's eyes widened in horror. That's dance powder, Crocodile is trying to. But the rebels weren't listening anymore. The sight of rain falling only around the palace while their towns remained dry was the final straw. They're hoarding the rain for themselves. The royal family betrayed us, attack. Koza, please, Vivi reached for her friend, but he was already turning away. I'm sorry, Vivi, Koza said grimly. But we can't let this continue, charge. The rebel army surged forward, their anger drowning out Vivi's desperate pleas. Let's go, Koza raised his sword. No, Vivi screamed, watching helplessly as her people rushed toward mutual destruction. From atop the palace, Crocodile's cold laughter echoed across Alubarna as he watched the chaos unfold. Behind him, King Cobra sat on his throne, iron rods cruelly impaling his hands and feet to keep him in place. Royal guards lay scattered around, severely wounded but still breathing. Kuhahaha. Watch, your majesty, as your kingdom tears itself apart, Crocodile grinned maliciously. Back at where the rebel army was charging, tears streamed down Vivi's face as she watched her people charge toward civil war. Princess San, Zoro stepped forward, his hand resting on his swords. Don't worry. We'll handle this, Sanji finished, taking a long drag from his cigarette. Just watch. Zoro unsheathed his swords, a dangerous glint in his eye. Sorry about this, but they're not giving us much choice. Try not to hurt them too badly, Marimo, Sanji loosened his tie. They're still Vivi-chan's people. TCH. I know that, Arrow Cook. The two warriors stepped forward, facing the charging rebel army. Despite their usual rivalry, they moved in perfect sync. Party table kick course. Onigiri. Their combined attacks sent rebels flying, careful to use just enough force to incapacitate without seriously injuring them. What are you doing? Vivi asked, torn between horror and hope. Keeping a promise to our captain, both men answered simultaneously, continuing to hold back the rebel charge. Meanwhile, Ace and Robin raced through Alubarna's streets toward the clock tower, its massive face looming above them. The bomb should be in the highest chamber, Robin explained as they ran. Right, Ace nodded, flames flickering around his shoulders. How much time do we have? Not long. The plan was to detonate it once the fighting reached its peak. They reached the tower's base, where several Baroque Works agents stood guard. Intruders. One shouted, raising his weapon. I'll handle them, Ace grinned, his fists igniting. Heiken. The guards scattered as flames engulfed the entrance. This way, Robin led them up the winding stairs, her expression serious. Be careful, Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day are likely guarding the bomb itself. More Baroque Works agents? Ace asked as they climbed. Yes. They specialize in explosives. They reached the top chamber, Finding exactly what Robin had predicted, 2 agents standing beside a massive bomb. "Miss All Sunday." Mr. Seven raised his rifle. "You traitor." "Foo foo foo." Robin crossed her arms. "Cease fleur." Clutch, arms sprouted from the agents' bodies, quickly subduing them while Ace examined the bomb. "This is bigger than I expected," he muttered, studying the complex device. "Can you disarm it?" Robin asked. Ace looked at Robin with a serious face. "Nope, never learned how." Robin stared at him for a moment, finding it hard to believe these brothers weren't blood-related. They shared the same reckless confidence. Ace's serious expression suddenly broke into a familiar grin. "But we don't need to disarm it. Can you get it out of that barrel? I'll take care of the rest." Before Robin could respond, a heavy impact shook the tower. "Fore," a deep, slow voice boomed. "You're not going anywhere with that bomb." A shrill voice followed. Mr. Fore and Miss Merry Christmas emerged from the shadows, the large man hefting his baseball bat gun while his partner burrowed up through the floor. "Foo foo foo," Robin crossed her arms. "This could be troublesome." "Leave them to me." Ace's flames flickered dangerously. "Just get that bomb ready to move." "You think you can handle us?" Miss Merry Christmas cackled, her body shifting into her mole form. "We're not like those weaklings downstairs." "Yeah." Ace smirked, his entire body erupting into flames. "That's what makes this fun." Back at the rebel army, Zoro and Sanji continued holding off the rebels when 2 figures emerged from the chaos. My, what do we have here?" Miss Doublefinger smirked, her fingers transforming into deadly spikes. "These are the ones interfering with the plan." Mr. One's body gleamed like steel. TCH, Zoro glanced at the Baroque Works agents, then at the continuing rebel charge. "We can't fight them and hold back the rebels at the same time." "A lady." Sanji's visible eyes turned to hearts despite the situation. "I cannot possibly." "Shut up," Zoro snapped, his patience wearing thin. "Take care of the rebels. I'll handle both agents." "A hand on a lady, you brute," Sanji shouted back. "Just piss off," Zoro roared, his temper finally breaking. "We don't have time for your chivalry." Vivi watched helplessly as chaos unfolded around her, feeling utterly useless. I can't even stop my people." "Vivi-chan," Sanji's voice softened as he continued kicking back rebels. "You can rely on us. Find Koza. Make them listen. We'll handle things here." Vivi wiped her tears, remembering all they'd been through together. All the times Luffy and his crew had come through for her. "You're right," she straightened up, determination replacing despair. "I'm going to find Koza. I'll make both sides listen, I have to." "Go." Zoro grinned ferally, drawing his third sword. "We've got this." Whoosh! Gomu Gomu no rocket. Luffy crashed through the palace roof, landing in a crouch before Crocodile. His eyes narrowed as he saw King Cobra impaled to his throne. "Crocodile." Luffy's voice was filled with rage. "I'm gonna kick your ass." Straw Hat. Crocodile exhaled a cloud of cigar smoke, looking unimpressed. "You think learning a little Haki makes you a threat to me?" "Yes." Luffy coated his fists in armament Haki. "Let me show you the difference between us." Crocodile's smirk turned cruel. His hook gleamed as he slammed it into the ground. Suddenly, the entire floor began turning to sand as Crocodile used his powers to drain all moisture from the stone itself. Luffy stumbled as his footing disappeared, sinking into the rapidly expanding desert. "Ground death," Crocodile laughed coldly. "This is the power of a real pirate. Your pathetic Haki won't save you when you can't even stand." "We'll see about that." Luffy grinned, readying his attack despite the unstable ground. "Gomu Gomu no." Luffy wound up his arm, coating it in Haki despite sinking into the sand. "Futile," Crocodile sneered, raising his hook. "Desert Spada." A blade of compressed sand shot toward Luffy, who barely managed to dodge by stretching his body. "Pistol." Luffy's Haki-coated fist rocketed toward Crocodile. But Crocodile was ready. He dissolved into the sand, reforming behind Luffy. "Is that all?" Ground Sekko. The sand beneath Luffy's feet suddenly became even drier, causing him to sink faster. Shi. Luffy grinned despite his predicament. "You're still using the same old tricks." "What?" Crocodile's eyes narrowed. "Gomu Gomu no." Luffy stretched both arms back, coating them in Haki. Bazooka. This time, Crocodile couldn't dodge completely. The Haki-infused attack clipped his shoulder, drawing first blood. You. Crocodile's expression darkened as he touched his bleeding shoulder. How dare you? I told you. Luffy's grin turned fierce. I'm going to kick your ass. The two fighters faced off, sand swirling around them as the fate of Alabasta hung in the balance. At the clock tower, Ace's battle with Mr. Fore and Miss Merry Christmas was going smoothly. His flames kept the mole woman from getting too close, while Mr. Fore's slow movements made him an easy target. Too slow, Ace taunted, dodging another baseball bomb. Mr. Fore wound up for another pitch while his dog gun, lasso, aimed. Careful, Robin called out, still working to extract the bomb from its housing. One stray shot could. Her warning came too late. Lasso launched a baseball directly toward the bomb barrel. No! Everyone shouted in horror. Vinta Fleur. Robin's arm sprouted instantly, catching the explosive ball and hurling it out the window just before it detonated. Boom! That was too close. Ace's expression darkened, all playfulness gone. Time to end this. Heiken. A massive column of fire engulfed both agents, taking them down before they could cause any more trouble. Got it, Robin announced, finally freeing the bomb. Now we just need to. Hold it right there, a gruff voice interrupted as smoke began filling the room. What do you think you're doing? Captain Smoker emerged from the haze, his jeet at ready. Fire Fist Ace and Nico Robin. What are you planning with that bomb? TCH, Ace stepped forward, flames flickering. We don't have time for this, Smoker. That bomb needs to be disposed of before it destroys the city. And I'm supposed to just trust the word of pirates? Smoker's eyes narrowed. Actually, Robin interjected smoothly, you might want to hear what we have to say about Crocodile's true plans for Alabasta. Smoker's eyes narrowed as he looked between Ace and Robin. Crocodile? What does he have to do with this? He's the one who planted this bomb, Robin explained calmly. It's meant to destroy Alubarna once the civil war reaches its peak. And why should I believe you? Smoker growled, though his grip on his jeet loosened slightly. Because, Robin says with her usual calm demeanor, you've been investigating him too, haven't you? You know something's not right about a warlord being so interested in a single kingdom. Smoker was silent for a moment, cigars trailing smoke as he considered their words. Fine, he finally grunted. What's your plan with the bomb? I'm going to fly it high enough that the explosion won't harm anyone, Ace explained, moving toward the massive explosive. That's a suicide, Smoker stated bluntly. Ace looked at Smoker with an amused grin. I'm a logia, remember? Smoker's face reddened with embarrassment before quickly shifting to anger. I'll do it. Back off, this is my fun, Ace smirked. Go find something else to do. Tashigi burst into the room, panting from her run up the tower stairs, only to freeze at the scene before her. Captain Smoker. What's enough? Robin interrupted smoothly, crossing her arms. Ace-san, please take the bomb to the sky. Marines, if you want to help, there are numerous undercover agents among the soldiers. Each Baroque Works agent has their organization's tattoo as identification. Smoker and Tashigi looked at Robin seriously, weighing their options. How do we know we can trust you? Tashigi asked, hand on her sword. Because right now, Robin smiled mysteriously, we all want the same thing, to prevent this kingdom's destruction. Smoker grunted, turning toward the stairs. Come on, Tashigi. We have rats to catch. Yes, sir. Tashigi followed though she cast one last suspicious glance at the pirates. Well, Ace grinned, hefting the bomb. Time to light up the sky. Be careful, Fire-san, Robin cautioned. Always Ace's body erupted into flames as he launched himself through the tower's window, carrying the bomb high into the desert sky. Back at Nanohana's port, the remaining crew members gathered on the Going Mary's deck. All right, Sabo adjusted his hat, we should hide the ships before the Marines arrive. We can't risk them being destroyed. Are you sure about this? Koala asked, concern evident in her voice. Even with Garp-san potentially coming? He may be your grandfather, but… Sabo's face went slightly pale at the mention of Garp, but he maintained his composure. Don't worry. His fists of love don't scare us brothers anymore. Despite his brave words, his slight trembling suggested otherwise. You're shaking, Koala pointed out dryly. And no, I'm not, Sabo protested, adjusting his cravat nervously. Even the great Revolutionary Army's chief of staff is afraid of his grandpa, Usopp teased, then quickly hid behind Chopper when Sabo glared at him. You haven't experienced his training, Sabo muttered, unconsciously rubbing his head as if feeling phantom bumps. Joking aside, Sabo twirled his pipe thoughtfully. Gramps will come once he hears I'm alive and we brothers are together. But don't worry too much about him. He'll just give us his fists of love and leave. Despite his casual tone, Sabo unconsciously rubbed his head again. That's what you're not worried about. Usopp's eyes bulged comically. Sounds like Garp is scary. Chopper giggled nervously from behind the mast. It's the other vice admirals I'm concerned about, Sabo continued, his expression turning serious. We don't know who they'll send, and the Eds to leave quickly. We can't risk confrontation with the Marines right now. Sabo-kun. Koala crossed her arms, giving him a stern look. You just want to escape before Garp-san arrives, don't you? And no. Sabo's face went blue with fear. I mean, that's not. It's tactical retreat. You're scared, everyone shouted with shark teeth. Tactical retreat is a valid strategy. Sabo protested, his dignified Revolutionary Army persona completely shattered. Sure, Koala patted his shoulder condescendingly. Whatever helps you sleep at night. But Sabo-kun is right, Koala said seriously. The Marines are already closing the main ports until reinforcements arrive. Our ship has camouflage capabilities, but the Going Merry. She looked at the caravel with concern. She's not built for these seas, much less breaking through a Marine blockade. Mary's stronger than she looks, Usopp defended passionately. That may be true, Koala smiled gently, but we need to be practical. The Marines won't hesitate to open fire, and with multiple vice admirals coming. She's right, Nami nodded. We need to hide Mary somewhere safe until this is over. I know a hidden cove not far from here, Sabo offered, then quickly added, which is totally not where I'm planning to hide from Gramps. Stop trying to pretend it's not about GARP, everyone shouted. Quack. Kuru agreed emphatically. Anyway, Sabo coughed, trying to regain his dignity, we should move quickly. The Marines will be here soon. Right. The crew began preparing to move, while Koala just shook her head fondly at Sabo's transparent attempts to maintain his cool image. Meanwhile, in Alubarna's palace, Luffy and Crocodile's battle continued to escalate. Desert Girasole, Crocodile snarled, creating a massive sinkhole beneath Luffy. Not gonna work, Luffy grinned, using Gear Second to propel himself out of the trap. Gomu Gomu no jet pistol. His Haki-coated fist slammed into Crocodile's chest, sending the warlord crashing through a wall. You! Crocodile emerged from the rubble, blood trickling from his mouth. How dare you? I told you, Luffy cracked his knuckles. I'm way stronger now. Sable's pesado. Crocodile created a dense sandstorm, but Luffy's observation Haki let him dodge easily. My turn. Luffy wound up his arms. Gomu Gomu no. Ground death. Crocodile tried desperately to sink Luffy into the sand. Gatling. Luffy's barrage of Haki-infused punches overwhelmed Crocodile's defense, each hit connecting solidly. This is impossible. Crocodile spat blood. You're just some rookie. Nope. Luffy grinned fiercely. I'm the man who's gonna be king of the pirates. Outside the city walls, Zoro stood with all three swords drawn, Wado Ichimonji clenched between his teeth as he faced the two Baroque Works agents. TCH, you think you can handle both of us? Mr. One's entire body transformed into steel blades. Quite confident, aren't you? Miss Doublefinger's body sprouted deadly spikes. Three-sword style, Zoro's voice was muffled by his sword, but his killing intent was clear. You're not getting anywhere near the city. Mr. One charged first, his blade arms slashing in deadly arcs, atomic spurt. Zoro deflected the attack, steel ringing against steel, onigiri. The powerful slash sent Mr. One skidding backward, while Miss Doublefinger tried circling around. Stinger fleur. Her spiked fingers extended toward Zoro's back. Tiger Hunt. Zoro spun, his three swords creating a whirlwind that forced both agents back. You're in our way, Mr. One growled. That's the idea. Zoro grinned ferally around his sword. And if you want to pass, you'll have to do it over my dead body. Spar break. Mr. One's blade arms slashed in a cross pattern. Stinger step. Miss Doublefinger's spiked legs struck from the opposite direction. Dragon twister. Zoro spun, creating a tornado of slashes that deflected both attacks. Sand whirled around them from the force of his technique. How can he block both of us? Miss Doublefinger gritted her teeth. He's stronger than our intel suggested. Mr. One's eyes narrowed. Zoro adjusted his grip on his swords, his bandana casting shadows over his eyes. You haven't seen anything yet, three-sword style. He crossed his arms, swords gleaming in the desert sun, 108-pound phoenix. The flying slash attack forced both agents to dodge in opposite directions, cutting deep trenches in the sand where they had been standing. Atomic spar. Mr. One charged again. Thorn Garden. Miss Doublefinger's entire body became a forest of spikes. Zoro met their attacks head-on, his three swords dancing as he fought both assassins simultaneously. The clash of steel and spikes echoed across the desert battlefield. Time to end this, Zoro growled around Wado Ichimonji, Demon Slash. Atomic Slicer. Mr. One's arm transformed into a blade, catching Zoro with a quick slash across his shoulder. The swordsman hadn't sensed the attack coming. Blood trickled down his arm, but Zoro's expression remained unchanged. If anything, the cut only seemed to focus him more. Thanks for the wake-up call, he said, a dark smile forming, but playtime's over. His three blades began to turn black with armament Haki, causing both Mr. One and Miss Doublefinger to step back in surprise. What's happening to his swords? Miss Doublefinger gasped. Three-sword style. Dragon twister. The Haki-infused attack tore through Mr. One's steel defenses, sending him crashing down. Before Miss Doublefinger could react, Zoro appeared behind her. Lion's Song. One swift strike was all it took. Both Baroque Works agents lay defeated in the sand as Zoro sheathed his swords. Should have picked a different swordsman to fight, he muttered, walking away from the battlefield. The desert sky erupted in a blinding flash, a massive explosion painting the heavens in brilliant oranges and reds. The shockwave rolled across Alubarna like thunder, sending sand swirling through the air. The charging rebels stumbled to a halt, their weapons lowering as they stared up in awe and fear. Damn you, Nico Robin, Crocodile cursed, realizing his trump card had been neutralized. She, Luffy grinned widely. Looks like Ace had some fun. Outside the city walls, Sanji paused mid-kick to admire the fiery display. Those brothers sure know how to make a scene. Zoro reached him, looking slightly annoyed. TCH, weak. Couldn't even stop them all by yourself, he commented, nodding toward the scattered rebels. Shut it, Marimo, I was being gentle with Vivi-chan's people. What in the world? Koza's voice trembled, his cracked glasses reflecting the apocalyptic display above. The same sky that had moments ago shown Crocodile's false rain now bore witness to something far more terrifying. The rebels' momentum had completely stalled, their anger momentarily forgotten as they tried to comprehend what they were seeing. The dance powder's artificial rain had been completely dispersed by the explosion's shockwave. KOHCA, Vivi's voice pierced through his despair like a blade. Look up there, she pointed at the sky where Ace had just detonated the bomb. That was Crocodile's true plan. He meant to kill everyone, rebels, royal army, innocent civilians, everyone. The rebel leader looked up at the dissipating explosion, then back at his defeated army. His knees hit the sand as the weight of their near catastrophe crashed down on him. My people. Koza's voice shook with rage and despair. Everything we believed in. Damn it. Sanji gritted his teeth around his cigarette. To manipulate an entire country like this. These people were just his pawns from the start. Zoro's eye narrowed dangerously. Crocodile. Koza's anguished cry echoed across the battlefield, the sound of a man who'd realized how close he'd come to destroying everything he'd fought to protect. Vivi rode one of the horses toward the royal army's position, forgetting to take Zoro and Sanji. The subdued rebels following behind her with Koza at their head. She called out. Please, lower your weapons. The rebellion is over. The royal guards looked uncertain, their spears still raised, until Chaka stepped forward. Princess Vivi. Is this true? Yes. Vivi dismounted, standing between both armies. Crocodile has been manipulating us all. We must stand together. As the two sides began lowering their weapons, a glint of metal caught the sun. A hidden Baroque works agent among the royal guards raised his rifle, aiming at Vivi. Whoosh! A cloud of smoke wrapped around the would-be assassin, slamming him into the ground. White blow. Smoker materialized from the smoke, confiscating the agent's weapon. Trying to shoot a princess in the back? Pathetic. Captain Smoker, the royal guards exclaimed in surprise. Check everyone's arms for the Baroque works tattoo, Smoker ordered gruffly. There might be more rats hiding among you. Meanwhile, back at the clock tower, Ace landed gracefully on the balcony, his usual grin in place. Well, that was fun. He dusted off his hands. Think I'll go see how my little brother's doing. I'll accompany you. Robin stepped forward. There's something I need to confirm in the palace. Oh, Ace raised an eyebrow. What's that? Just to want to make sure what Luffy said. Robin smiled mysteriously. Shall we? Lead the way. Ace gestured grandly, flames flickering around his shoulders as they headed toward the palace. In the palace, Luffy and Crocodile's battle reached its peak. Desert La Spada. Crocodile unleashed a barrage of sand blades. Not gonna work. Luffy dodged with his observation Haki, his body moving fluidly between the attacks. Gomu Gomu no. Ground death. Crocodile tried desperately to sink the entire palace into sand. Jet Gatling. Luffy's Haki-coated fists rained down on Crocodile like machine gun fire, each hit connecting solidly through his sand defense. Impossible. Crocodile spat blood. I'm a warlord, you're nothing but a rookie. She. Luffy grinned fiercely. I told you. This time's different. He wound up his arm, coating it in Haki. Gomu Gomu no. Desert Apocalypse. Crocodile roared in desperation, unleashing his ultimate attack. Gomu Gomu no Gigant Pistol. The massive Haki-infused fist tore through Crocodile's sandstorm, connecting squarely with his face. The impact sent the warlord flying through multiple walls and high into the sky, disappearing with a twinkle. Just then, Ace and Robin arrived at the destroyed throne room. Oi, Luffy, Ace called out. Where's Crocodile? She. Luffy pointed up through the massive hole in the ceiling. I sent him flying. He should land somewhere in the desert. That's my little brother, Ace laughed, ruffling Luffy's hair. Foo, Robin chuckled, then turned serious as she saw King Cobra still impaled to his throne. Your Majesty. They quickly freed the king, Robin using her powers to carefully remove the iron rods while Ace cauterized the wounds. Thank you, Cobra said weakly, but my people. Don't worry, Luffy beamed. Vivi and the others stopped the fighting, and Ace blew up the bomb. The bomb? Cobra's eyes widened. So that explosion in the sky. She. We did it. We saved Vivi's country. Luffy cheered, pumping his fists in the air. Indeed, Robin smiled, helping King Cobra stand, though there's still much to be done. Right. Luffy nodded. Like having a banquet, Sanji, meet. He's not here, idiot, Ace bonked his brother's head. He's still at the city gates with the others. Oh yeah, I'll go find him. Luffy stretched his arms, preparing to rocket off. Sanji makes the best victory feasts. Wait, Ace started, but Luffy had already launched himself through another hole in the palace wall. Meet. Luffy's voice echoed as he disappeared. He never changes, Ace sighed fondly. Your Majesty, Robin turned to Cobra. Perhaps we should gather your people and explain what truly happened here. Yes, Cobra nodded weakly. My people deserve the truth about Crocodile's manipulation. I'll look after him, Ace offered, heading for the door. Better make sure Luffy doesn't cause too much chaos looking for his cook. Luffy landed at the city gates with his usual lack of grace, creating a small crater in the sand. He looked around at the scene before him. Royal guards and rebels standing together, their weapons lowered, talking like old friends. She. Everyone's getting along now. He grinned, then spotted a familiar blue-haired figure. Oi, Vivi. Luffy-san. Vivi turned, relief flooding her face. Did you defeat Crocodile? Yep. Sent him flying. Luffy looked around, frowning slightly. Hey, where's Zoro and Sanji? I can't sense them here. Vivi's eyes suddenly widened in horror. Oh no, I left them outside the city. I was so focused on stopping the armies that I completely forgot about them. She. That's pretty clumsy, Vivi. Luffy laughed at her embarrassed expression. Just then, familiar voices drifted from beyond the gates, growing louder by the second. I told you not to hit a lady, you moss-headed barbarian. Shut up, Arrow Cook. She was trying to kill us. Two figures emerged through the settling dust. Zoro and Sanji, bickering as usual while covered in sand and looking slightly battered. She. Found them. Luffy waved enthusiastically. Oi, Sanji, I'm hungry, make meat. Is that all you care about? Both men shouted with shark teeth, though they couldn't hide their grins at seeing their captain Zoro and Sanji approached. Still arguing, something unexpected happened. Small droplets began falling from the sky, quickly turning into a steady downpour. Rain. Vivi looked up, her eyes widening. Real rain, not dance powder. The rain Crocodile stole. Luffy grinned, letting the water soak his straw hat. It's finally returning. The rebels and royal guards stopped their conversations, all looking up in wonder as the precious water fell freely for the first time in years. Rain. People began shouting joyfully, it's really raining. The drought. Koza removed his cracked glasses, letting the rain hit his face. It's finally over. She. Luffy stretched his arms wide, spinning in the rain. See? I told you we'd kick Crocodile's ass and save your country? Vivi couldn't hold back her tears, which mixed with the falling rain. Thank you all. TCH, getting all wet, Zoro grumbled, though he was smiling. Shut up, Marimo. Sanji lit a somehow still dry cigarette. You're ruining the moment. Sanji, meat. Luffy bounced over to his cook. We need a victory feast. You're still thinking about food? Everyone shouted, but their laughter joined the sound of falling rain, the sound of Alabasta's salvation. Ace landed near the group, flames sizzling in the rain as he approached. Just then, Den Mushis throughout the city crackled to life, carrying King Cobra's tired but determined voice. My people, his voice echoed across Alubarna. Today we nearly lost everything to deception and manipulation. The drought that plagued our land, the conflicts that divided us, all were orchestrated by those who sought to destroy our kingdom. But thanks to Princess Vivi and her brave companions, the truth has been revealed. The crowds fell silent, listening to their king's words as the rain continued to fall. She. Vivi's dad is pretty cool, Luffy grinned, while Vivi wiped tears from her eyes. Let us rebuild what was nearly destroyed, Cobra continued, not as rebels and royals, but as one people, the people of Alabasta. Cheers erupted throughout the city, mixing with the sound of falling rain. Now, Ace grinned, throwing an arm around Luffy's shoulders about that victory feast. Meat. Luffy cheered, making everyone laugh despite their exhaustion. The rain continued to fall, washing away the last traces of Crocodile's reign as Alabasta's people celebrated their reunion. Are we there yet? Usopp whined, his feet dragging in the sand. For the 10th time, no, Nami snapped, against the desert wind. The small group trudged through the desert toward Alubarna, all wearing concealing cloaks. Sabo led the way, occasionally checking their direction with his compass. I still can't believe we ran into Igaram, Chopper commented from atop Karoo. Quack, Karoo agreed enthusiastically. At least the Marines didn't spot us, Koala added, walking beside Sabo. As they crested a dune, Alubarna's walls came into view. The city seemed peaceful, with no signs of the earlier chaos. Look, Usopp pointed through his goggles. People are celebrating in the streets. Then, we missed everything? Nami's eye twitched dangerously. They made their way into the city, eventually reaching the palace where sounds of festivities echoed from within. Meet! Luffy's familiar voice carried through the halls. Following the noise, they found a massive banquet in progress. Luffy was inhaling food while Ace dozed in his plate. Zoro and Sanji were arguing over the last bottle of wine, while Robin watched in amusement. Vivi sat beside her father, both looking tired but happy. You've been feasting this whole time? The newcomers shouted with shark teeth. Oh, hi guys. Luffy waved cheerfully, his cheeks stuffed with food. She, you missed all the fun. What do you mean we missed all the fun? Nami punched Luffy, leaving a steaming bump. She. The fighting's over. We kicked Crocodile's ass, Luffy grinned despite the bump. And you started the party without us? Usopp complained. Actually, Robin smiled mysteriously, this is still continuing from last night. You've been feasting all night. Foo. Indeed. Though some haven't lasted quite as long. She gestured to Ace, who was still face down in his food, snoring loudly. Meat. Luffy stretched his arm to grab more food. Join us, Sanji made tons. Of course I did. Knowing your appetite, Sanji lit a fresh cigarette. There's plenty for everyone. Thank goodness, Chopper sighed in relief. I'm starving. Sabo approached his sleeping brother, poking Ace with his pipe. Oi, wake up. You're getting mashed potatoes in your hair. Huh? Wah. Ace jerked awake. Food stuck to his face. Did someone say food? You've been eating this whole time, everyone shouted. She. It's a victory party, Luffy declared, already pulling the newcomers toward the feast. Igaram. Vivi's eyes filled with tears as she spotted her old guardian among the newcomers. She leapt from her seat, running to embrace him. VVV. Princess, Igaram's voice cracked with emotion, his usual vocal stutter more pronounced. I'm so relieved to see you safe, Mamama. We thought you died in that explosion. Vivi sobbed into his chest. When Luffy said you survived, I could hardly believe it. It takes more than that to stop your loyal guard, Mamama. Igaram patted her head affectionately. Though I must apologize for taking so long to return. Don't apologize. Vivi shook her head, wiping her tears. You're here now, and Alabasta is safe. That's all that matters. Indeed, King Cobra smiled warmly at the reunion. Welcome back, old friend. Your Majesty. Igaram bowed deeply. I'm honored to return to your service. She. Luffy grinned through a mouthful of meat. See, everyone's happy now. Don't talk with your mouth full. Nami bonked him. The celebration continued with renewed energy. Igaram's return adding another reason to feast. Stories were shared, toasts were made, and laughter filled the palace halls as the sun rose on a new day in Alabasta.